Modern life is unimaginable without electricity. It lights houses, buildings, streets, provides domestic and industrial heat, and powers most equipment used in homes, offices, and machinery in factories. Improving access to electricity worldwide is crucial to alleviating poverty. Coal plays a vital role in electricity generation worldwide. Coal-fired power plants currently fuel 41% of global electricity. In some countries, coal fuels a higher percentage of electricity. Coal as well generated a lot of revenue for Nigeria between the year 1916 and 1960s, when it was one of the Nigerian major revenue earners before the advent of oil. A major incentive for colonial rule in Nigeria were her natural resources and the wealth hidden beneath her soils, including large deposits of mineral stones around the country. So alluring and widespread were the deposits that it motivated the colonial government to amalgamate the territories now known as Nigeria for easier colonial management and transportation to Europe. It is hoped that the revitalization of the mining sites in Nigeria for power generation and bitumen exploration will not only increase the nation's chains of revenue generation, but will boost the nation's power supply and reduce unemployment rate in the country. What is the untold history of coal mining in Nigeria? Where is Nigeria lagging behind? What is the hope of reviving coal sites from the concerned state of the country, and how will this impact the Nigeria economy entirely? This is the mystery of coal mining business in Nigeria. Coal was first discovered in Nigeria in 1909 at the Udi Ridge in Enugu by British mines engineer Albert Keystone. Keystone has been prospecting for silver. By 1914, the year of Nigeria's amalgamation, the first consignment of coal made its way to the United Kingdom from the newly created port at Port Harcourt. By 1916, the Ogbete mine was in full operation, and in that year alone, it yielded 24,511 metric tons of coal. Over time, other mines sprang up in the region, which became the modern-day Enugu state. Coal production hit an all-time high of 719,000 metric tons before it faced a steady decline. To manage the resources produced at these mines, the Nigerian Coal Corporation was incorporated in 1950. The core domestic market for coal production in Nigeria was its emerging rail system, which depended heavily on the produce to power its locomotive engines. But with the sudden discovery of hydrocarbons in the late 1950s, the Nigerian Railway Corporation switched from coal to diesel-powered energy. The Electric Company of Nigeria also converted its power generation from coal to diesel. The loss of these two big clients played a major role in the decline of coal production, as the government did not think it was feasible to continue to heavily invest in the sector. Besides, the recent discovery of crude oil at Oloibiri held the promise of greater revenue through exports to the newly independent nation. The Coal Corporation survived the onslaught of crude oil, especially because it continued to enjoy a national monopoly on coal production. The Nigerian Civil War was another major factor in the decline of the Nigerian Coal Corporation. A number of coal mines became inaccessible during the period and were abandoned. Most of the abandoned coal mines were never revived or reclaimed. Interestingly, two mines were commissioned during the Civil War, one at Odagbo, which was later known as the Okaba Coal Mine, located in present-day Kogi State, and the Biafra Coal Corporation in Enugu. Both were merged at the end of the war into the Nigerian Coal Corporation. Attempts at mechanizing the mines in the late 70s and 80s failed, which further dropped its production. Another concern in the 1980s and most of the 1990s was the poor management of the Nigerian Coal Corporation. The then military government had a poor chance for randomly appointing personnel with little or no experience in management or without technical knowledge to manage public enterprises. The Nigerian Coal Corporation was no exception. With the appointment of a university professor who had no management experience to head the corporation, its further decline came as no surprise. The final blow was in 1999 when the Nigerian government sought to increase direct foreign investment in the country by privatizing the corporation and opening the nation's solid mineral market to large private investors. The strategy failed. With the withdrawal of support from the government, the corporation lost its steam. It however remained in operation till 2002 before eventually shutting down. Unsuccessful in its privatization bid, the federal government in 2013 sold off some of the corporation's assets to the Enugu state government in order to offset outstanding debt. The discovery of coal in Enugu had a kaleidoscope of effect on the town and indeed the nation. For one, it contributed to the rapid development of the town and made it commercial hub for the region. The wealth generated from the coal was strategic, that Enugu became the capital of the eastern region in 1938. Its widespread influence also led to the establishment of a thriving port at the area now known as Port Harcourt, which also became a city of record to ship coal out of Enugu to Europe. Coal mining quickly spurred the growth of the population of Enugu with the influx of miners. The total number of miners working in the region jumped from 6,000 men in 1948 to 8,000 men in 1958. The aftermath of the River Valley Massacre of 1949 played a prominent role in the national agitation for independence. The River Valley Massacre revolved around the miners' strike of 1949, in which miners demanded better wages and conditions of service, but the colonial government administrators see it as confrontation and a covert call for independence. Historical accounts state that the coal workers, agitated by rising inflation and the failure of the management to recognize the Colliery Workers' Union, has started to demand for increase in their wages and the recognition of the union as far back as 1944. However, matters came to a head in November 1944 when the workers decided to embark on a work-to-rule strike to drive home their point. They refused to work for longer than the minimum required hours and operated strictly within the confines of their minimum deliverables, and thus considerably slowed down the operations of the several coal mines. 3 days into work today rule strike, the management attempted to sack 200 hewers. For several days, the hewers occupied the mines, so they would not be replaced by new recruits. In solidarity with their husbands, the miners' wives protested at the colliery's office, destroying equipment and breaking windows. In response, the management called the police to disrupt the protest, and in the fracas that ensued, some of the women were wounded. Even that event did not dislodge the miners. The tenacity and wide support for the protest led the colonial government to believe it was an insurrection with communist backing, and that it was instigated by members of Zikist movements who were agitating for national independence. The colonial government also feared that the protesters would steal the explosives from mines and use them in terrorist attacks. It therefore dispatched 900 soldiers and policemen from the northern part of the country to dislodge the miners and secure the explosives. The ensuing standoff between the colonial and the miners led to the killing of 21 and the grievous wounding of 51 unarmed miners by the colonial police. Historical records cite that Captain Phillips, a colonial officer, vexed by the striking miners' solidarity chants, fired the first shot, which hit a hewer, Sunday and Yasado, in the mouth, killing him instantly. Another military officer joined Captain Phillips in shooting at the protesters, and in aftermath of the ensuing mayhem, 21 miners were dead. This event became known as the River Valley Massacre and have become a reference point in the history of labor movements in Nigeria. It also marked a tipping point in Nigeria's quest for independence, a fact often lost in the formal teaching of Nigeria's history. Coal also managed to play a prominent role in Nigeria's politics in the nation's early years post-independence, having held Enugu its position as the eastern region's capital. It subsequently became the short-lived strategic capital of Biafra during the Nigerian Civil War, providing essential power to the Biafran struggle. Coal accounted a sizable chunk of Nigeria's revenue at independence and made a major contribution to the development of its national infrastructure. While there are no accurate records of the number of persons employed at the mines for the entire duration of its existence or its dependent economies, what we do know is that it was considered to have provided employment for a sizable population of people, and that the final demise of Nigerian Coal Corporation impacted commercial activities in the city. As a mining town, Enugu attracted local, national and international migrants who worked at the mines and provided it with flavor and color. The city's population in 1952 was estimated at 62,000, of which more than half were non-indigenous. A traditional ruler who witnessed the coal era boom testified that virtually every family in Enugu had at least one member working at the corporation, and that the mines had a large dependent economy. Later, when crude oil took over from revenue derived from coal, its impact was less felt on a national scale. While the benefits of coal mines were largely economical and immediate, it also had negative and long-term effects, especially on the environment. These effects are popularly compounded by the failure of the government to reclaim most of these mines, especially those abandoned during the Civil War. Enugu State is reputed to have the worst erosion in the entire nation, a condition attributed to unreclaimed mines and unregulated artisanal mining at abandoned mine sites throughout the state. A study by the Journal of Environmental Science and Technology on the effects of mine drainage on water bodies, especially looking at coal mining in Enugu, concluded that the quality of the water is significantly influenced by acidic mine drainage, and its impact on human health could be severe. There are currently over 22 redundant coal mines around Nigeria, 4 of which were fully developed coal mines. There is no coherent public discussion about their existence, or more importantly, their reclamation. With such a rich and varied history of coal, it is about time Nigeria has a well-informed debate about its energy future. Hold on a second. The Thumbs Up Show advocates for youth development and tends to impart knowledge as to alleviate under-informed pressure and unemployment rate affecting the youth. You can also be an agent of development by giving a thumbs up on this video, following me across social platforms as A Silva, and subscribing to the Thumbs Up Show on YouTube. Thanks, and let's further on the instigating part to our dear country, Nigeria. Despite efforts put in place to revitalize the mining sector 3 decades after the exit of Britain and Poland, who were the former explorers, the site at since remains the ghost of itself, seeking urgent intervention from government to enable mining exploration to contribute to the nation's gross domestic product. Plagued with dilapidated infrastructure with deplorable access to roads and the coal sites, the government can resuscitate the coal sites for expanded power generation by attracting companies to develop large coal resources and construct coal-fired generating plants that will connect to the country's electrical distribution grid. Coal plays a vital role in electricity generation worldwide. Coal-fired power plants currently fuel 41% of global electricity. In some countries, coal fuels a higher percentage of electricity. Examples: South Africa 93%, Poland 87%, China 79%, Australia 78%, Kazakhstan 75%, India 68%, Israel 58%, Czech Republic 51%, Morocco 51%, Greece 54%, USA 40%, Germany 41%. There is an urgent need to revive Enugu's former coal production to an even greater capacity than before. Enugu State is said to have the highest coal deposit in Nigeria, and hardly would one dig a borehole or foundation for a house without eating coal. Take the US for example. Coal electricity generation accounts for nearly 40% of its total electricity production, and this is the highest electricity production in the US, followed by natural gas electricity production at 27.4%. The United States is able to generate a total of 1,060,000 megawatts of electricity for its population, with proposed additional energy substantiation coming from renewable energy sources. Nigeria can achieve this with all the coal mines in Enugu State, Anambra State, Delta State put into maximum use. Constant electricity supply will be achievable for the entire country, thus making the country attractive for foreign investors, business owners, and general development. Millions of naira in business operation costs will be saved yearly from alternative electricity generation from generators by companies situated in major parts of the country. Businesses will be more efficient and effective. More entrepreneurs will be encouraged to open up businesses all over the country, creating more jobs for people of the nation. Poverty levels would further be reduced and standard of living would increase. An additional 5,000 megawatts of electricity could be generated compared to the current 3,800 megawatts electricity generating capacity of Nigeria in general. Not to think of other production uses of coal, such as in steel production, cement production, liquid fuels as alternative to crude oil, combustion products, and so on, leading to the establishment of steel, cement companies, and generating additional revenue for the country. With the right minds, resources, and brains put together, Nigeria could be transformed to a Dubai in just under 20 years. Since the natural resources are in great supply, the mental resources are ever in abundance, and the viability is assured. You may be interested in the success story of OPay and what gives the company a viable edge over some other fintech businesses in Nigeria. Thanks, and see you again.